Hey, matin va, Jason and show, agus betalam inche geef, kimmer en nie me skrivig. Good morning, Jason here, and I'd like to share a bit about how I write with you. So lately I've been working on my next novel, Deirdre of the Sorrows. And it's a wonderful story, and I've had a lot of fun writing it, but it's also taken some very interesting turns. So first of all, my writing process, how do I actually do it? Well, what I do is first, months before I even start writing, I read as many versions of the story as I can. And I read them and let them sink into my subconscious. So I have them kicking around in my mind. And then sooner or later, there's going to be a day when it feels like there's a lot of energy coming up, like a big tidal wave. I just know, right, big creative wave is coming. It's time to write. So I'll make sure to clear my schedule as much as I can. Even just for an afternoon. I wrote Rona agus Macodrum. I wrote the first draft of my first Gaelic book in 4 hours. It was on a plane flight going from Iceland to Boston, which is quite nice. So I don't need that long to write a rough draft. Oftentimes it just comes out, and when it does, it's like a flood. Yeah, so just riding that wave, right? Go in with that flood, that creative flood. So when I feel like it's time to write, what I do is, well, I do two things. First of all, is I get some music and I make sure that I'm out in nature somewhere. For writing Deirdre of the Sorrows, I wrote the rough draft mostly while out on my aunt's porch in New York. So there's something about having fresh air that really supports my creativity. Even if it's cold out. I remember I was out there early in the morning, at like 6 a.m. So I had my pot of tea and I had my blanket sitting there in the chair, just writing, just letting it all come out. Having some fresh air helps. And then when I'm writing my rough draft, it usually just comes out, like I said, in like a wave. And I do my best to just get out of the way. So what I do is, to really get in touch with that, with the story that's coming out, I listen to some music. Usually it's Wardruna. If you've ever seen the TV series Vikings, they did the soundtrack. So it's ethnic, it's shamanic, it's deep, there's a lot of drumming to it. It's really, for me, it's very inspiring music, very atmospheric. There are a lot of feelings woven into the music. It's very, very powerful music. So in a way, I guess I'm putting myself into a trance, a bit like a shaman might. So getting myself just deeper, getting in touch with that inner creativity through the music. And then once the story starts coming out, I get out of the way. So when I'm writing, it's not like I'm creating something. It's more like I'm observing it happening. I'm a journalist. I'm one of the characters, just watching it all unfold and frantically just writing it down as it happens. And then later on, when I edit, I guess that's when I get a bit more conscious about it, right? And really pick apart the language. But initially, getting that first story out, it's all from intuition. It's all from deeper inside. And I don't feel that I have much control over it at all, which is kind of nice. Because it comes out, and it always comes out differently than I thought it would. For this Deirdre story, I thought I had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen. And then it took a lot of twists at the end, especially, which is really fun to be part of. Like I said, I'm like a character in the story, and I'm being surprised too as things are happening. So that's a bit about how I write the rough draft. Get into the mood through some music and just let it flow out. Just let it all come out. I'm very inspired by Stephen King's reflections on writing. His belief is that stories are like fossils. They're already complete. And what we do is we unearth them. We go deep down inside and we find them. We unearth them and then we uncover more and more of them. So the story is already finished. Just as our job to bring it into the light, which I really appreciate. And I feel that my process is similar. I don't feel I'm in control of what's coming out. Just letting the story emerge. And then it'll take some more twists and turns in the editing process as well.